Hi guys, I'm Dara, I'm Tarara, and welcome back to Daz and Taz. So before we get into this video, we just want to clarify what we're going to be doing for the fall semester, which is coming up. And basically we've decided that we're not going to be on campus like for the majority of the semester / all of the semester, because all our classes are online anyway and can be taken remotely. And plus we just don't want to like go and risk anything, and like the Nigerian airspace is closed anyway, so where are we going? We just want to like vlog our whole like experience throughout the term. I think it would be nice for people like at home to just watch it, and I wish I did that this time last year, just like vlogged the good and the bad. So we're going to be showing a lot of that. So as you can tell by the title of today's video, we're going to be talking a little bit about our high school or secondary school, if you're in England, experience, and a little bit about where we like came from before we actually came to Georgia Tech. A lot of people when they come to this channel are like, oh, your accents are like a bit weird, like where do you come from? Just to clarify, we're Nigerian and American citizens, but the accent is because we were in boarding school in England, an all-girls private boarding school in England before we came to Georgia Tech. We're gonna basically be talking about our experience at an English boarding school, and this video is gonna be split up into 4 parts. So just look in the description and you'll see like what we're talking about in each part. Okay, so let's get into the video. So in the first section 1 of this video, we're gonna be debunking some myths about just private boarding schools in England. When people hear private boarding schools in England, I'm sure like some things like come to your mind. So let's just debunk some myths. So obviously the first like myth that a lot of people think about boarding schools is that everyone that goes there is rich / their parents have so much money, and you know everyone is there just like spoiled rich brats, just all in the same place. And that's just like not true at all. Like obviously people who go to that school, their parents are like comfortable / well off and can afford for them to go, but like it's really not true that everyone there just has loads and loads and loads of money. Like pretty much like a lot of people just, their parents prioritize their education, which is why they're putting down that specific amount of money for them to go. People's parents are just like really hardworking / want them to get that really top education, so that's just it. Also we'll mention that that's kind of like a myth that's like specific to English schools. We're not really sure about boarding schools in America. The second myth is that, you know, it's just like a nightmare because all the girls are just really mean and really rude, and they're just like cliques, and there's a lot of bullying. And first of all, I'm gonna say that bullying happens in like every single school. The thing about all girls schools is that people tend to think that because they're like all girls, there's just gonna be like more gossip, like etc., which there kind of probably is in like I would say maybe the younger years, but as we kind of matured, like that kind of stuff just like died down. And I also feel like, well, we are the kind of people that like to like just stay out of drama, and I feel like if you don't want to get into drama, you can pretty much just stay out of it. So I remember when I was like researching like a specific school that we wanted to like go to, when my mom was like, oh, look up schools, I saw that like, oh, Kate Middleton went to our school for a term and she was like bullied and she had to leave. And obviously like coming from like Lagos, that kind of like scared me a bit. I was like, oh, are we gonna go there and like get bullied, you know what I mean? But you know, the school just wasn't right for Kate Middleton. Like no offense, love you Kate Middleton, but the school wasn't right for you. And I feel like you just need to be bold, be confident, stay out of drama, and things will probably work out for you. So the next myth we want to kind of debunk is that in an all-girls boarding school you never really interact with boys. Like you just don't see boys, and that's just like not true. Firstly, like we're not like stuck in the boarding school like 24/7. They're like our weekends like you can go out. You can basically like, I don't know, we were like international students, so we couldn't like go out every single weekend, but like people just go out in the weekends. And they're like exeats and half terms where you can literally just go out and just do whatever you want, so you're not stuck there. So if you want to see your friend who's a boy, you can see them. Like it's really not that deep. Also we have these things called socials. Like most people like who went to a boarding school know what a social is. It's basically just like a girls school and a boys school like coming together for like a party. In the beginning years, like when we were like 11, 12, 13, the socials weren't really that fun at all, because it was just like you literally come in and like the girls would literally be on one side, the boys would literally be on one side, and then it'd just be like really awkward, and it'd just be like the people who knew like one boy just talking to the boy, and that's just not fun. But when we were like older, like 16, 17, 18, we'd have like, we were part of the Caledonian Society, which is basically just like Scottish reeling dancing, and that was so much fun. Like, so basically what that was is like we would have like a sit down meal with the boys, like a 3-course meal with like wine and stuff. If we find pictures, we'll like insert them. If we find pictures, we'll insert them, but it was very like formal, and the best part was like the girls getting like dressed up and the boys were all in like full tux. 3-course meal, like wine was served. and then we go like Scottish reeling afterwards. And if you don't know what Scottish reeling is, it's just like a specific type of dance. We used to have, as part of the society, we used to have to go and practice with that like every Friday. I mean, we never turned up to like practice, but like it's really fun, and it's really easy to learn, and like the boys would have to know the reels.
And there'd be like people in our year who would be like head of the Caledonian Society, who like were the people who actually knew what they were doing and like organized the rehearsals and stuff. So you enjoy socials way more when you're older than when you're like 11.
The next myth is that people think like English boarding schools are like Harry Potter, and they are not. Like Harry Potter is just like, it's way more exciting. Like we don't have the magic. We do have like houses, but we're not sorted into housing by a sorting hat. It's not as fun as Harry Potter.
Okay, so we're gonna be moving on to section 2, and this is just us talking about like the highlights of like our experience, things that we really liked.
So the first like enjoyable thing about going to school in Europe is that it's in Europe, and like you can go to so many fun places that are literally just like an hour away or a train ride away. We went to Belgium, Nice in France. We did an exchange in Nice. In our school, it is like compulsory in like year 8, which is the equivalent of 7th grade. We have to spend a whole term in France. So we literally like went to France for like from like September to December, which was really fun.
So much fun.
There were other like house trips to places all around the world. Joe doesn't want to let me live my life. South Africa, India, Burma, like China. People went to like New York for lacrosse trips, Washington DC. Like basically what I'm trying to say is that even though we are in a small bubble, there's so many like opportunities for us to be like, consider ourselves as more of like global citizens in a way.
So the next really fun part about a boarding school was that we were in houses, and like it's a bit like Harry Potter houses in the sense that like it's like kind of really competitive, and that's just because we just have loads of house competitions. Like we have house drama, house music, house gym, house dance. Like there's so many competitions within your house, and like it's competitive to the point that it's fun. It's not like cutthroat competitive. Deep down, no one really cares. When you're older, like when you're like in the 6th form, you can like, you're basically the head of like directing all those competitions. So like you can be a director for house drama or like a choreographer for house dance. I choreographed house dance, Dara, you directed house drama, you also did house dance as well. But like it's just really fun to get involved. That was like a massive highlight.
Another thing that's really good is that British boarding schools tend to have really good choirs and like competitive choirs. So we did choir pretty much our whole 7 years, but it wasn't, I don't think, until like our last 3 years until we like really got into choir, serious into choir. But like we were in senior choral in our school and choral, and what that was basically just like it consisted of like some of the best singers in the school, not even the best singers, but people who just like love to sing. Like I don't even know how we made it to that choir, because there are literally people who are like way better than us in that choir. But what was really cool about it is that we entered this competition called Bernardo's School like Choir of the Year or something, and we actually won. And what was really even cooler is that because we won, we got to like go and perform at the Royal Albert Hall. And if you guys don't know what the Royal Albert Hall is, it's just a really famous like concert hall in England. So like you can imagine like just us, just like random girls, just like going to like perform there.
Also our like head of music is like, was really talented and like passionate about what she was doing.
Shout out Dr. Exon. She was just like crazy about music, and
which was like, she was crazy about music, and that was just like literally so amazing for us, because we got to do like so many amazing things.
Also in terms of instruments, we actually did play violin in Lagos, and before we went to England, and we did do violin and piano
up until like
maybe like
5 for piano, and then like
grade like 3. Like basically anyway, we kind of just stopped because we wanted to focus more on like our academics.
I'm so happy I went. For 7 years of my life I was in all girls school, and people might be like, really? I said this a lot like when I first came to college, but I noticed that like because I was in an all girls environment, like I never felt like intimidated by boys. I never felt like intimidated, you know what I mean? Because just like, oh, we're here and we're doing the most, and when we get to an environment where the boys are still going to be doing the most, it's never like, oh, there are now boys here, so like let's keep quiet. We're just like, wait, what? We're just gonna be confident anyway. So it made us like more confident, wanted to contribute more to like everything we're doing. So section 3 is us gonna be talking about the things that other people might be like, that's a bit odd, or other people might find strange. So the first thing obviously is uniform, and like I feel like this isn't weird in England because in most English schools you're required to wear uniform anyway, but our uniform was like a different kind of uniform. Like it was like long green skirts, and like when you're older, like 16, 17, you have to wear like suits, which is kind of like short black skirts and shirts. But like in hindsight, it was just such an amazing idea. Like whoever came up with uniform, I love that person, because like you don't have to, not having to worry about like what you want to wear every single day, just like cuts the stress in half of like getting ready. And the fact that everyone looks the same just makes it so much easier. Like no one's out here judging what you're wearing. Like not that people in college judge what you're wearing anyway, but like it just makes it so much easier. So
the second thing that people might find odd is that when you're older in your last year and you're on like the leadership team, you have to wear gowns. And like when I tell people this, they're like, wait, what? Like Harry Potter? Yeah, like Harry Potter, we have to wear gowns. I was actually deputy head girl of my school when I was in the last year. Terraria, like Terraria was so many things, like head of drama, head ambassador of the school, head of anti-bullying committee, no flex, but anyway. But we had to wear our gowns, and we would have to wear our gowns at like assemblies, or I remember one time our school hosted this like alumni event at the House of Lords. So we're really out there in London, walking around London looking like actual like.
Also like the gowns are like pretty special because they're like passed on down to like people who have your position. So for example, deputy head girl gown is like nearly 40 years old. Like people, like you can't just go and like lose the gown because like that gown has a lot of history.
So like you get to like sew your name label into the gown and then you pass it on.
So another thing that like is people might think is a bit strange is that we used to call our school like the nunnery. We're not used to call it, people still call it the nunnery, but I think this is like where this came from is that there's like a chapel in our school. Like you're required to go to chapel twice a week. There's even like a head of chapel in the sixth form. As part of the choir, we also have to sing in chapel so many times, and it's just like part of the experience. You're not gonna escape chapel, like no offense. So section 4 is us talking about being black in a predominantly like white school. Obviously, since the school is based in England, like they're gonna be mostly white girls there. It's just like a given.
Bottom line I'm gonna say is that we're so lucky not to have experienced any like upfront or at least like first-hand like blatant racism.
We're like lucky to not have experienced.
Yeah, we're lucky to not have experienced that. But we definitely did experience some microaggressions. I didn't know there were microaggressions at the time because these happened like when we like first got there, when we were like 11, 12, and I didn't really know what microaggression was. Obviously these would just come in the form of like people like commenting on our hair, like oh, why does our hair change? Why does our hair look this way? Or like when we would like show people pictures of like leaving our hair out, like oh, why is your hair like that? Or people asking to touch our hair, which I actually did not mind at all. But now like being older now, being like educated myself, I just realized that it's like if people ask to touch your hair, that's like a weird thing and you should call them out on it.
Another thing like I vividly remember, like an experience I vividly remember was that in like when we're 11 in our first year in history, like one of the main topics was like slavery. Also you should be learning about that, and we're not even gonna go into how British like curriculum literally glorifies slavery, but anyway, that's another story. But like people asking me things like literally acting as if I knew everything about slavery because I was black, like being like, oh, what's a good like African name I can like use for like my short story about slavery? And I'm like, wait, what?
Just to slide that in again once more, the British like curriculum kind of just like they always talk about everything in context of like the empire and how they're like so great and they conquered the world and they're amazing and they don't have a problem with racism, but like that's America's problem when they literally like they played a major role in the slave trade. So that just definitely just needs to change, bottom line. But apart from that, I can't really think of that much. I mean, there were points where people are like comparing themselves, like, oh, look at my tan, like I'm nearly as dark as you. Just things, it's like we are all educating ourselves now, and like we all just need to keep educating ourselves.
I'm grateful to like the staff at our school as like, you know, kind of accepting black girls and celebrating them, you know, allowing us to have like Black History Month and like celebrate that, and like they're actually like keen to learn about like our culture, not in a way that's like condescending. And I feel like a lot of schools, and I think these schools know who they are, have it a lot worse than us.
Obviously when we first came, I would say there were like literally a handful of like black girls in like the entire school. But like what I've noticed that especially like since I was like in my last year, looking back at the school, there were like so many different girls. It's really nice to just see a diverse school. It's just like, it's just a little bit of flavor, you know. And most importantly, when you have like a diverse community, those people can help you become like more educated and more like cultured and less just like ignorant.
As every school should be doing, like they're participating like in the Black Lives Matter movement, like really trying to educate girls about like what's going on, what you can do to like, what as a white girl, how to be an ally.
To conclude, and I think this especially comes from us, you know, going to like African school before we even came to that school where everybody was predominantly black anyway. We've never ever seen like our skin color as something that could like stop us from like being the best or being better. I mean, obviously the like cards are stacked against us, we know that now, but like little like 11-year-old me didn't care. Like I never was like, oh, I can't do this because I'm not white, I can't like get this grade because I'm not white. That mentality has really helped us push forward, like despite like, you know, what society is saying.
Yeah, obviously this is like so different from like in a UK boarding school to like in the big wide world in America. We hope you found this video like informative and like interesting-ish to like know where we went to secondary school. And you know, we're gonna be trying to vlog more. We want to, you know, we actually enjoy vlogging, and like it's what we kind of used to do before like coronavirus started.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you like it and comment down below. If you have any questions for us, comment. If you went through something like similar in your high schools, then please comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're nearly at 200 subscribers, so please subscribe.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.